So what do we need to do right now in order to reopen the country to get back to, some sort of normalcy and sort of set a new normal, whatever the new normal is?
Well, I will say it's three phases. The acute phase we're in now, the semi-normal phase until we get a vaccine, and then the truly normal phase after the vaccine has protected all of us.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a vaccine by the end of the year. We're doing very well with the vaccine. And I will tell you something, I just literally left a meeting. We're mobilizing our military and other forces, but we're mobilizing our military on the basis that we do have a vaccine. It's a massive job to give this vaccine. Our military is now being mobilized. So at the end of the year, we're going to be able to give it to a lot of people very, very rapidly.
The latest numbers from the CDC reveal hospitals have been counting patients who died from serious pre-existing conditions as COVID-19 deaths. One America's Pearson Sharp has more as the CDC counts over 51,000 patients who died from heart attacks as opposed to coronavirus.
The Centers for Disease Control have updated their death counts for coronavirus and reveal yet again that COVID-19 is rarely the actual cause of death among coronavirus patients. According to the CDC themselves, of the 220,000 deaths attributed to the coronavirus, 87,000 of them died from pneumonia and influenza. Another 17,000 died from chronic respiratory diseases, and 26,000 died from respiratory distress syndrome. 44,000 patients died from hypertensive diseases, 23,000 died from heart disease, and a whopping 28,000 died from cardiac arrest and heart failure. Yet all of these, even patients who died from heart attacks, were marked down as dying from the coronavirus. Doctors who spoke with One American News explained that 131,000 patients who are being considered COVID-19 deaths already had life-ending diseases, including cancer, dementia, and even end-stage renal failure. And according to the CDC again, if you look at place of death, you'll see that some 10,000 patients who died from COVID were on hospice care, meaning they were terminally ill to begin with and were already expected to die. Doctors tell One American News that all of these patients were critically ill and likely died from their pre-existing conditions without any help from the coronavirus. However, they explain that the CARES Act, passed by Congress in March, gives hospitals a 20% bonus on their diagnosis-related group paid for by Medicare. Essentially, that means doctors are being paid to list deaths as coronavirus without any indication the patient's death was actually COVID-related. The 1918 Spanish flu is often used as an example of a comparable pandemic, and perhaps it's more comparable than most people realize, according to the National Institutes of Health and even Dr. Anthony Fauci himself, in a 2008 paper explained that the majority of deaths during the 1918 and 1919 pandemic were not caused by the influenza alone. Instead, Dr. Fauci says that the vast majority of deaths were caused by bacterial pneumonia. Exactly what the CDC shows we're witnessing again today. The CDC backs these numbers up, explaining that coronavirus itself is responsible for just 6% of all deaths listed as coronavirus related. The other 94% of deaths are due to pre-existing comorbidities, including serious illnesses and advanced age. However, despite this report being officially published by the CDC, so far the mainstream media have completely ignored it, instead continuing to hype a pandemic that seems less dangerous every day. Pearson Sharp, One American News.
Something good going to happen. I really believe that. There's something very good going to happen. We have to get back. So think of it in this horrible period, this horrible, dark period where this monster came and worked its horrible, horrible spell over the world. 184 countries as of this morning. 184 countries. Something good going to happen. I really believe that. There's something very good going to happen. We have to get back. So think of it in this horrible period, this horrible, dark period where this monster came and worked its horrible, horrible spell.
One issue that has come up is once you do have a vaccine, how do you properly distribute it?
Just in case you didn't hear. So, once you do have a vaccine, how do you properly distribute it?
How do you get it out quickly to millions?
Well, when we have the vaccine, we have the military all lined up, and the military is going to be doing it in a very powerful manner. These are people that don't usually do vaccines. They do soldiers, and they do lots of other things that, frankly, are more difficult. But we have our general, and logistically, he's all set.
All set. The general is all set. And the military is all set to distribute it powerfully.
Y'all gonna derail the train, bro. The train need to be derailed. They're trying to take over. This the railroad track behind the oil mill in Opelousas. Where are they going with this? Either way, the train stopped, and now it's backing up. Backing up to do what? They might be able to unload all these tanks. And if you notice, the tracks got rubber on them. It's been brought to my attention that's for driving on the road. For rolling on the street, y'all. Yep, see? Y'all still gonna argue that martial law ain't in effect? Yeah. Anybody know the definition of quarantine? Forced isolation. How you think they're gonna enforce isolation? About 400 tanks, that's what they're about to do.
Since last night's declaration of martial law, soldiers are moving in to secure key areas in all major
In response to UN presence in Minneapolis.
Last night I dreamt about how things were. And then I woke up here.